Hello again, everyone. Now let's continue our discussion with working with groups. No, and this time about the interventions to facilitate group growth. So, what are the interventions that we can do, no, to encourage growth among the groups we handle or among the groups we develop or among the groups that we're working with? Number one is to provide the necessary orientation, structure, and direction, which is needed, especially in the stage one of group development. Number two is to process, negotiate, and resolve conflicts, not to members' satisfaction, which is appropriate for the stage two, no, of growth, group development. And then number three is the awareness of the effects of behavior on the group that would contribute to a more heightened cohesiveness of the group, which in turn will contribute to the maturity of the group, no, in the stage four. So, and during the stage four, what the intervention is to act as the group's completer, no, or a resource person. Okay, and then number five is to derive opportunities to apply the new learning, no, that the group has gained through that stage or through that session, and to be able to apply this new learning to another situation. Okay, so but let's discuss in particular, no, or specifically the steps, no, or specific interventions under each main intervention. Like for example, the uh, orientation, providing orientation, structure, and uh, direction. No, so during the stage of orientation, no, and dependence, we have mentioned, no, in the previous lecture that the level of anxiety can be decreased by providing the necessary orientation, structure, and direction to the group. Like for instance, when the group members, no, do not know each other, no, so what do we do? There should be preliminaries of introduction, and there, which actually this in preliminaries of introduction actually will provide a positive impact, no, on group members if they got introduced by the leader or the facilitator, because they will be encouraged also to get to know, no, other members of the group. And also, the time to interview co-members should be provided also in this instance. Bali opportunity to clarify or elucidate on the goals and purposes of the group, as well as the expectations and the perceptions of every members regarding the roles and the responsibilities should be maximized, no, and should be given, and group members should be given opportunity, no, to clarify these things. Certain structured learning exercises on group decision making and consensus may also be utilized to help the group members experience performing the various tasks and group building or maintenance functions necessary for effective group work. No? So these exercises also provide opportunities to release, no, through a game, the energy generated by the anxiety of the unknown, no, that anxiety of uncertainty during the first stage. Moreover, the dependence that is aggravated by certain social cultural tendencies to be submissive and authority oriented can be minimized early in the group's experience. The lines of interaction can be changed markedly from the leader-centered to group-centered. You know, as members learn to communicate effectively with one another, and as members learn to participate actively in the discussions and also the group work. Now, the facilitator, no, or the leader creates an atmosphere for productive group work when members' interpersonal needs are met, no, are met to a satisfactory degree for each one member. Meeting these interpersonal needs may be initiated by the leader, right? In due time, members learn to initiate the modeling behavior of the leader, and they eventually help meet also the interpersonal needs of their co-members. So the role modeling, no, is very important. They tend to imitate. So if the leader tries to meet the needs, no, of the members, then eventually the members also will learn, no, to meet the interpersonal needs of their uh, colleagues, of their co-members, of their teammate. Now, helping group members meet their interpersonal needs to belong and to be part of the group can be encouraged by acknowledging the importance of their presence in the group, no, and contributions they make. The leader should communicate the message that each one is important in the achievement, no, of one's goals. Now, during experiences of heightened level of anxiety, which is sometimes cannot be avoided, the members concerned should be provided with the necessary emotional support by acknowledging the discomfort being experienced. No, una muna yon. And then later on by eliminating or minimizing the sources of anxiety or its effects. The leader may avoid making demands until group anxiety has stopped or has decreased. So members open up when they feel secure in expressing their attitudes and ideas, when they know they won't be ignored, ridiculed, criticized, or otherwise embarrassed by the other group members. The leader's tasks and techniques, no, may include listening attentively to what each is saying, not judging the contribution of members or commenting on every contribution made, doing away with preaching, teaching, or moralizing, and also avoiding forcing members into participation before they are ready. The leader can encourage productive participation by number one, observing for signs of a member's efforts to be heard, you know, and giving her an opportunity to contribute. Also, the leader can encourage productive participation by being sensitive in identifying those too eager to talk, as they can take up all the group's time. You know? So give yeah give, try to identify these kind of members. And then number three is encouraging and supporting all members who participate, right? And then number four, summarizing and clarifying the contributions. Number five, not monopolizing the discussion or commenting too frequently. So the leader should show enthusiasm for the discussion and a sincere interest, no, in the group members to encourage productive participation. Now, in a discussion group, there are experiences when a member obstructs the functioning of the group, and quite frequently, the other group members, no, are not able to solve the problem constructively. They either support the obstructor or reject him, where and both of which are undesirable, by the way. So the leader may have to intervene if the conflict situation is to be handled productively. No, and that brings us to the second intervention, main intervention, which is to process, negotiate, and resolve conflicts that may arise, and processing this, negotiating this, and resolving these conflicts to members' satisfaction. Okay, so ganun talaga. If we want to have a productive team, no, a productive group, we need to be able to resolve conflicts. So how do we go about this intervention? No, the dynamism, according to Dr. Maglaya in her book, No, the dynamism characteristic of the work group is maintained if the hostility and conflict in the group are permitted to develop. Okay, I repeat, the dynamism characteristics of the work group is maintained if the hostility and conflict in the group are permitted to develop. Okay, so again, the conflicts are permitted, not suppressed, if we want a dynamic group. However, stability, no, in the face of turbulence cannot be sustained unless group members have the necessary attitude, no, towards conflicts and the competencies necessary to handle or manage them. So specific interventions can focus on developing the members' competencies to handle conflicts constructively. No, so there is a way to positively deal with or constructively deal with conflicts. We don't need to suppress them because anyway, these conflicts are needed, no, for a more dynamic team. So, what are these ways? No, what are these specific conditions? Number one is to understand the nature of conflicts. Okay, group members uh, must be able to learn to develop a positive attitude toward conflict when they realize that it is a natural part of any relationship or of any group. So that is the nature of conflicts. No, it is a natural part of any relationship or end of any group. It is inevitable in a problem-solving group, primarily because persons differ from each other in many ways. They differ in personalities, they differ in temperaments, they differ in needs, motives, interests, ideas, and perspectives. No, so like for example, I can share with you a very common ano character way of understanding the differences in people. Are you familiar with the temperaments, no? The character temperaments. It is said that temperaments are natural dispositions. No, so there are people who are choleric, who are melancholic, who are sanguine, and who are phlegmatic. So choleric tends to be bossy. They are result oriented. And melancholic, they are very reflective, sensitive, perfectionist. Um, so, kung ang choleric ay fast, ang melancholic ay slow in the sense that they are not result-oriented. They are process-oriented. So, they take care, no, of the step-by-step process and they want to maintain fidelity towards that process. So, that is the melancholic. Magkabaliktad sila ni choleric. Si sanguine naman is, parang the life of the group. Um, hindi siya Yes, she is also impulsive. She is an action person also like a choleric. Pero si sanguine, hindi yung result, kundi yung joy, no? Yung happiness nung group ang gusto niya, no? So she wants to enjoy while doing the work, no, with her group mates. Kaya nga ano yan, at pag may problema, nawawala yan kasi hindi niya gusto, hindi niya kaya, no, kapag may mga trouble. So gusto niya happy lang yung group. Yung phlegmatic naman ay very peace loving. So she tries to avoid conflicts. She makes peace with everyone. Yan, very compromising, pero slow, no? Pag napagod, yeah, parang si melancholic. Si choleric at si sanguine, yan, very active yung dalawang yan. So it's like the choleric and the sanguines are extroverts, while the melancholic and the phlegmatic are introverts. Okay, so yeah, magkakaiba yung characteristics. And if group members will learn to recognize that it is that conflicts are natural in any relationship or in any group because of these differences, then they start to develop a positive attitude towards conflicts. Also, um, members should learn that conflict is desirable actually and is extremely valuable for several reasons according to Johnson and Johnson, which Dr. Araceli Maglaya cited in her book. Sabi ni Johnson and Johnson, conflict it actually encourages inquiry. No, it promotes objectivity and sharpens analysis, since it provides for a greater diversity of opinions, interests, values, and ideas among group members. Thus, when conflict is handled constructively, the group is able to come up with creative and high quality decisions and solutions. Okay. Also, Johnson said that conflict stimulates interest and curiosity and increases the motivation and energy of group members. So these in turn encourage active involvement and commitment of members to group functioning. That's why we said earlier that a conflict is necessary for a dynamic group, okay? Because it stimulates interest and curiosity and increases the motivation and energy of group members. Next, according to Johnson and Johnson, conflict can greatly reduce the natural tension and frustration of working together because conflict allows for the expression of emotions such as indignation and anger and these kind of emotions, when suppressed, will interfere with group work, no? Because hindi ka na makakapag, you cannot focus on contributing well to the group if you have suppressed feelings of anger towards someone, di ba? So you are inhibited, you are guarded, you have walls, you have walls. So hindi ka ma-penetrate. Kaya it affects, no, it would interfere with the dynamism in the group if suppressed negative emotions are suppressed. Okay, so feelings that are unresolved and are not dealt with make for biased, non-objective judgments and actions. They affect the members' perception of events and information, and they lead to distortion, of others' ideas or misinterpretation of their actions. Thus, if members withdraw from conflicts, relationships within the group become so fragile, that members cannot stand the strain of prolonged differences. Next, members derive personal benefits from the experience of conflict. Imagine that, no? So there are personal benefits that can be derived from these conflicts. An individual in the group is provided an opportunity to achieve greater self-understanding. Again, greater self-understanding because of the conflict. No, as a result of working through a conflict with co-members. Paano? Because having to talk about his position and thinking more carefully about how sound it is often would generate greater awareness of values and identity. So that leads to a greater self-understanding. So conflict allows the individual to test and assess himself and experience the pleasure of using fully and actively his capabilities. So these are benefits, no, that can be derived from the experience of conflict. Next, conflicts bring information to members. Now about where they are, what is important to each of them, how the group work can be made effective, and how relationships can be improved. Okay? And these usually arise, as groups try to confront these conflicts and resolve them. Now, when the conflict is handled as it is being experienced by members, in the here and now, as it happens, arguments are kept up to date, and this helps group members, avoid being bothered by the past. So the past which they cannot change anymore. So when the conflicts are kept up to date, no, it's a practice for everybody to focus on what is present. Because anyway, yun nga, you cannot go back to yesterday. You cannot even advance to tomorrow. The present day is the only day, no, that you can make that you can make meaningful, or that you can, sabi nga, you can sanctify. It's the only day that you can, the present day is the only day that you cannot sanctify. You cannot sanctify yesterday and tomorrow, but you can sanctify what is happening today. So the keeping these arguments up to date helps group members to not to be bothered by the past any longer. So practice to move on, parang ganon, na nakakapag-move on. Members who argue regularly and constructively need not carry a load full of grievances. Kasi sabi nga, tapos na yan, napag-usapan na yan, na-resolve na yan the other day. So let's focus on this new conflict. No? So, yan. All past differences or disagreements have been dealt with so that members do not constrain working together and appreciating one another in the present. So that's very important. Kaya nga, conflicts, no, must be resolved and must be kept up to date. Now, any conflict can be handled constructively by the group when members know when uh, the following aspects are considered. Number one, members should develop specific group norms or rules. No? So there must be norms or rules to create an atmosphere conducive to healthy management of conflicts. Examples of such group norms or rules are the conflict should be over, kumbaga, creating boundaries about the conflicts. Like, for example, the conflict should only be over issues and not between persons. So it can be laid out, no, at the very start, no, that members will only entertain or the issues that should be entertained are or the conflicts that should be entertained is about issues, not about persons. Okay, and members who disagree with others must understand both the positions and the frame of thought or the frame of reference of the other person or of their opponents. And also, groups must or members must understand the situational power. Ano ba tong situational power na to? Like being the person being more verbal, no, and thus having more power. The person having a louder voice, which of course are having more power, no. So these are what we call the situational power, and these situational power should be balanced, no, such that negotiations are conducted between equals. Also, um, conflicts are managed effectively by encouraging group cooperation and by using the problem solving approach. And the basic steps of this approach includes, um, number one, clarify the issues. Number two, diagnose, no, the causes of the conflicts. Number three, explore ways to settle the conflicts. Number four, decide upon and implement an agreement that is satisfactory to all members. And number five, to evaluate the success of the actions of the action or the actions that were taken. So let's talk about clarifying the basic issues as the first step, no, in conflict resolution through a problem solving approach. So when we clarify the basic issues, the opposing viewpoints must be clear to every member of the group. And in order to do this, each member wishing to express an opposing viewpoint must first have an accurate personal understanding of his own needs, okay, of his own goals, of his own positions and proposals. And once this is done, the member can be helped to communicate accurately, you know, the underlying assumptions and frame of reference of his viewpoint. This promotes clarity, predictability, and mutual understanding of positions, no, of feelings and frame of references. Consequently, the group is able to identify the opposing viewpoints of controversies. Okay, so that is how we clarify the basic issues. Second is in the conflict resolution is to diagnose the dimension and causes of conflict. So how do we do this? The objective here is to define the nature and magnitude, no, of the forces that bring about the conflict and forces that minimize the conflict. Okay? These forces may be cognitive or intellectual in nature, as when the conflict is over substantive issues. And these include differences in information or differences in beliefs, opinions, assumptions, and ideas. So, forces may also be psychological or emotional in nature, no, such as interpersonal needs, motives, or feelings. Now, once these forces are listed, no, the group is ready to take the next step, no, in the problem-solving approach. So, what is the next step? It is to explore ways to settle the conflict, which is the third stage in the problem-solving approach of conflict resolution. Okay, so and in settling the conflict, there are again four steps. No, so nasa third step tayo, but there are four steps to settle the conflict. No, according to Dr. Maglaya. First is to eliminate or reduce the forces that bring about the conflict and or strengthen or increase the forces, no, that minimize the conflict. So either remove the source or strengthen the the force that minimize the conflict. Second is to integrate positions or ideas that are similar, such as the dimension or magnitude, no, of the conflict is reduced. Okay, again, second is to integrate positions or ideas that are similar, such as the dimension or magnitude of the conflict, no, that is reduced. The third step is to help the members analyze if the opposing views can be taken, no, by the group uh, as its decision. Now, if the group is constrained to take only one viewpoint, the members can be helped, no, to go through the next component of the problem-solving approach. Okay? And the next component is to decide upon and implement an agreement satisfactory of the group. So, balikan natin. Nasa 4 na tayo. Una is to clarify the basic issues. Number 2 is to diagnose the dimension and causes of conflict. Number 3 is to explore the ways of settling the conflict. And number 4 is to decide upon and implement an agreement satisfactory of the group. So the opposing viewpoints can be listed together with the positive and the negative aspects of each in as far as the group's goals and tasks are concerned. Okay, so the viewpoints and its impact on the group's goals and tasks. Yan. Then identify the resources needed to carry out and implement the alternatives to operationalize each viewpoint, and then evaluate how realistic the alternatives are and the probabilities of success. Okay. Yeah, so we try to anticipate, no, all the blocks, to implementation and how the group members will handle them. All right. Now, once these are all identified, the group can now decide which viewpoint to take based on the minimum resources that shall give the maximum benefits to the group. Now, when a decision, is made, the group can put the ideas and activities into a time sequence, okay, with the specific dates for activities to occur. And members can be given specific assignments in order to implement the agreement. And the last step in conflict resolution, no, through a problem-solving approach, is to evaluate the success of the actions taken. Now, in order that the group learns to be dynamic in pursuing its goals, it has to learn to evaluate the success of its actions, such that provisions for replanning are adequately considered. Now, if the decision to take a particular viewpoint as its course of action does not prove successful, then the group can be made to realize the benefits of going through the problem-solving approach on another viewpoint, no, applying again the other steps. Now, this cyclic process is done until the group is able to find the best solution to its conflicts. No, although conflicts resolution is outlined, no, in that step-by-step process, the group does not necessarily have to go through all the steps before it can come up with a consensus. No, the steps are outlined in that manner so that groups are guided on how to arrive at a consensus, but they don't necessarily have to do it I mean to go through all the steps. If they reach the consensus earlier, then much better. Now the group may be able to come up with a consensus without yun nga, necessarily going through all that steps. And in many instances, group members learn to give up their ideas in favor of a brighter one, no, more creative and more workable proposal by another member. Once there is mutual understanding and predictability of assumptions, frames of reference, positions, and feelings. Now, in utilizing the problem-solving strategy for conflict resolution, other interventions, tasks, and techniques can be employed, no, to maximize the group's capabilities to define and analyze the causes of the conflict and develop alternatives to solve the problem. These interventions, tasks, and techniques are presented also, no, by Dr. Maglaya in her book, no, and this would include generating new ways of looking at the situation or problem. Okay? So, yung una, di ba, is understand the nature of conflicts. And then number two is conflict resolution through problem-solving approach. And then number three is to generate new ways of looking at the situation or the problem. Now, during experiences, of conflict among group members, a feeling of frustration, tension, and discomfort can result from the group's failure to produce an adequate alternative to resolve the conflict. Quite often, members feel the need to withdraw, from the issue as part of the group's defense mechanism to attain equilibrium during such a stormy stage. Members may drop off the issue consciously or unconsciously, hoping that some form of quiet can be a good resolution of the conflict. So, tatahimik na lang, antayin na mawala yung tension. So, akala pag tahimik, okay na. No? Now, in the absence of the better alternative, such a coping mechanism usually is resorted to by the group. And this can eventually lead to a permanent incapability of the group to handle and resolve conflicts to everyone's satisfaction. No, kasi hindi naman na-resolve eh. Nakahang lang siya. Tahimik lang ang lahat. Akala peaceful na. No? Pero actually, in reality, the members are not satisfied. No, the relationship among group members remains superficial as expenses revolve only around routine or procedural concerns or problems. So the group members' enthusiasm and commitment may eventually become affected because the group has lost the very reason for its vitality, its capability for dynamism. Kasi nanahimik na. No? And sabi nga natin, when a group is dynamic, when a group is vital, very active, then it becomes more productive. Now, without that dynamism and vitality, so yeah, it also affects the productivity of the group. Now, during such experiences on frustrations and dead ends, no, brought about by the group's incapability to handle conflicts, the nurse, as a facilitator of the group growth, can help the members look at the situation or the data from various perspectives, such that new orientations and insights can be derived from them. Okay. Um, the facilitator can encourage group members uh, to have available diverse ideas that can be flexibly put together into new and varied patterns. This may require changing perceptions, finding new ways of looking at things, and changing ideas and concepts that members have religiously adhered to in the past. Okay? Threat and excessive tension can result from accepting the challenge of questioning the ideas, no, and beliefs firmly based upon how we have recognized, clarified, defined, labeled, and analyzed experiences in the past. Now, threats bring about defensiveness and reduce both tolerance towards ambiguity and receptiveness to the new and unfamiliar. Too much tension leads to stereotyping of thought processes, by the way. And in order to help group members break away, from thinking tradition and accept the challenge of changing perceptions and providing new ways of looking at experiences on conflict, the facilitator need to develop conditions that allow concerns, issues, and problems to be reformulated. So during group discussion, the atmosphere must be such that members are given the freedom, no, and the support to have the self-confidence needed to entertain and express novel ideas that may initially seem wild and implausible. So even though they might seem to be wild and implausible, but still they have to be encouraged to express those ideas, no, and they must not feel the fear of being censured. They should be given the freedom to question initial assumptions, no, or the framework within which the problem occurs. And each group member also needs to become sufficiently detached from her original viewpoint to be able to see the problem from new perspectives. Now, to help group members get detached from ideas and viewpoints and analyze or resolve conflicts that act as psychological barriers to productive group discussions, there are some practical techniques that can be utilized. And these are suggested by Dr. Maglaya in her book on community health nursing. So some practical techniques includes number one, more often members react to and experience conflict with persons or co-members, not necessarily because of their ideas, beliefs, or conflicts. Conflicts can be minimized by helping members isolate or separate the ideas, beliefs, and concepts from the persons advocating them. One best way to do this is to put all ideas, beliefs, and concepts on the blackboard or other visual materials. So this shall free the group members from always associating these ideas with the persons every time they have to look at those concerned when they discuss the issues or conflicts. So this detachment, from persons is important. Another practical technique is role reversal. Now, role reversal is another way to help group members understand each other's position and frame of references. Through role reversal, members can be encouraged to recreate exactly how it is for the other person. This means actually trying to see the idea from his point of view, to sense how one feels about it, to put oneself in another person's frame of reference. Okay. Another technique is structured exercises. No, certain structured exercises can help group members understand and appreciate the nature of conflicts, and some ways to resolve them by generating new ways of looking at situations and experiences. One such exercise is called a breaking balloons exercise. No, this exercise seeks to demonstrate a nonverbal conflict. Now, the facilitator's procedure is To usually have each participant blow up a balloon and tie it to his ankle with a string. Then, when a signal is given, the participants are to try to burst one another's balloons by stepping on them. The person whose balloon is burst first is out and must sit and watch from the sidelines. The last person to have an unburst balloon is the winner. So the participants can then discuss their feelings of aggression, defeat, defense, and victory. Strategies for protecting their balloons while attacking others should be noted, no, as part of the processing. During the group discussion of the exercise, we let the members analyze the nature of conflicts by relating their experiences on the exercise with personal conflicts they have with neighbors, significant others, co-workers, or co-members. Then relate the strategies used in the exercise with their behavior during the experiences of conflict. Okay, a variation on the exercise can be done also. And like to have teams with different colored balloons compete against each other. Okay, so that is one exercise, the breaking balloons exercise. Another exercise is called the connect the dots. This is also suggested by Johnson and Johnson, which Dr. Maglaya has cited in her book. Now, the Connect the Dots is a structured exercise that can help members experience the need to detach themselves from usual ways of solving problems. The exercise requires the group to be creative in attempting to solve it. The facilitator shall ask the group to be divided into triads, the group of three. Each triad's assignment is to connect all nine dots, no, with only four straight and connected lines. The correct answer, no, yeah, the 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 correct answer should be the answer that is most creative, no, to connect all nine dots using only the four straight lines. Okay, so yeah. Now, the ability to solve the problem is based upon the ability to go outside the obvious boundaries in reaching the solution. So, during the group discussion, we let the members describe and analyze how they tried, to connect the dots. Also, during the group processing, the processing of this activity, we derive insights from their experiences, in connecting the dots by helping them see how rigid adherence to original viewpoints, beliefs, frame of reference, assumptions, and past experiences can retard the group members' capability to reach agreed upon goal and objectives. Going outside the obvious boundaries is analogous to going beyond the boundaries of rigidity and exploring new ways of looking at situations or data to resolve conflicts, which on close examination can be considered as byproduct of thinking traditions. No? So interesting, no, to have these kind of activities. I remember whenever we are doing the team building, we facilitate team building activities. So we come up with different exercises to facilitate this. Okay. So, and I hope that you will be able to do this also, no, in the community as you try to develop groups, no, who can work effectively together in achieving the health goals for the community. Okay, so finding new ways. Next is to help members analyze the here and now experience. So the third intervention to keep the group analyze, negotiate, and resolve conflicts is to focus on the feelings and experiences of the members in the present moment, in the here and now. And during experiences of conflicts, tension, and anxiety, this can affect group process, no, to a degree that individual members feel the need to do something about the situation they are in. Members can learn to assume the responsibility for sustaining the vitality of the group and to gain control over tension laden experiences by helping them reflect back on the reasons why these experiences or events happen. Essentially, these interventions help members recognize, examine, and understand the how and why of interactions or behavior soon after they are experienced by the group members. Through a focus on the present, the blocks or barriers to group progress are pinned down and analyzed for possible alternatives or redirection or behavior change. No, now there are sample communication techniques that can be used no, to help the facilitator initiate or utilize these intervention no, of helping members analyze the present. No? So these example communication techniques would include number one, the facilitator asking, is there anything you can say or feel about how we are going through this group experience? Or the facilitator can ask, can we describe what's happening to our group for the last few minutes? Or what do you think are the reasons why we feel we are on a dead end since a few minutes ago? Okay. Another is, how have we been discussing the issues? What are the feelings generated in us by this group experience? Why do we feel this way? Okay. Another is, what insights can we derive from this experience? And what are the implications of our insights to help us identify alternatives? So you see these sample questions, no? Sample communication techniques, no, would encourage exploring, among the members and helping them analyze the experience, reflect on the experience, and eventually make meaning, put meaning on the experience. No? Now, before such an intervention can be utilized, the facilitator must learn to be adept at identifying here and now experiences that need to be analyzed or processed. So, hindi, not every experience naman should be given attention for analysis and processing. So, the job of the facilitator is to spot these experiences that needs analysis and processing. Some practical reasons that can help her to be sensitive to these events would include keeping an eye or concentrating not only on the content of the group discussion, but on how the messages are sent and received. Okay? The facilitator should not only be concerned with connotations and blatant elements of messages. Meta communication is another aspect of a message that need to be analyzed. Meta communication refers to a communication about a communication. No? And Yalom explains that meta communication is a message about the nature of the relationship between interacting members. From the relationship aspect, for example, the facilitator can analyze, why is the member making this statement at this time to this person in this manner? The process behind a sequence of statements made by a member or by several members can help the facilitator determine the relationship between one member and the other members, or between clusters or cliques or of members, or between the members and the leader, or finally between the group as a whole and its primary task. So the meta communication is very important, no? And the facilitator must be very keen and observant about this meta communication of spotting these relationships. Okay, now next is to be an active participant of the here and now experience. So, ano yun? The facilitator should focus on how the interaction is affecting the group member rather than on what to fear or hope, no, or what members uh, hope to happen or fears to happen. or what one should say next after a member or two have talked. By concentrating on the here and now, the facilitator strengthens her gut feeling. No, this helps her achieve an awareness, an objective assessment of everything in the situation being faced. Right? The choice of an appropriate intervention is guided by the group process as experienced in the here and now by the facilitator. Okay? Now, to help members experience conflict and analyze the here and now, um, or analyze the here and now event it brings, the facilitator can utilize a structured exercise, which is a modification of uh, of which is the modification, no, of what we have done a while ago. No? So instead of just task and maintenance roles to be played by the group members, some self-serving roles can be incorporated, no, in the envelope of the exercise. Um, okay, maybe or ano, there are also um, other activities. No, so some activities can be planned. Some structured exercise can be planned. No, to help members experience the conflict and analyze the the present situation. No, okay, all right. So I have to cut short muna the discussion because it's taking too long. I need to have another session for discussion para naman the discussion won't be dragging since uh, it seems like this is a very interesting topic, no? Since it will really, if you understand very well how to do this, then it will have a great impact on how you're going to engage and relate with the people in the community. And eventually, we'll be able to develop the groups, no, effective groups that are capable of carrying out planned programs for the community. Thank you very much and see you later.